So if you're watching this, then you're probably looking for information for a visa to Ireland. So I'm going to share with you my experience when I applied for a visit visa, and I was just so thankful that both of my application was approved. Okay, so when you are preparing your documents, the first thing you need to prepare is the application form, which you can do online. You just go to INES website and fill in the form, and if you're not finished, just save it and you can answer it for 30 days. And the next thing, of course, is your passport. And you should photocopy each pages of your passport with stamp, as well as the application letter or your cover letter. Your cover letter is very important because you can explain there if you are lacking any document or there is something that you cannot provide, then you can just explain it in the letter. And I think they do consider that one as long as they can prove that you're saying the truth, because they have their way of knowing, they have their way of going into things. I don't know how they do it, but they just know it. Okay, and the last one are the required documents, which are listed at INES website. So just go to their website and check the documents that they're asking. However, I know that the documents listed there is sometimes very confusing, and in my experience, they ask for additional documents which are actually not in their website, which is kind of frustrating. For the required documents, I submitted my bank statement and the bank certificate, which covers 6 months of my transaction with the bank. The bank statement is the list of transaction you had with your bank, while the bank certificate is a letter from your bank confirming your account. So in the bank certificate, your name, your contact number, your address, your account number, as well as the money you have in your account when you request for the statement. And it is also important for the bank certificate that states that you are allowed to withdraw the money anytime abroad, because the embassy will really look for that information. Okay, I also submitted my travel insurance, and the travel insurance covers like the day I arrived in Ireland and the day I left Ireland. If, for example, you stay for like a month in Ireland, then you should have 30 days of insurance. And since I'm not residing in my home country right now, I'm working abroad, so I needed to submit my house registration as well as my house contract. So my house contract is between me and the landlord, while the registration is the landlord registering me to the police. For the house contract, what they did to my application is the embassy called my landlord to confirm whatever is written in the contract, and also to confirm if the landlord is aware of my application and that I'm leaving the country. And I also submitted my labor contract, my work permit, work visa, my certificate of employment, and they will also ask for the leave letter. However, I wasn't able to submit that one since my company don't really support those kind of documentation. However, since I wasn't able to provide the leave letter, I wrote them a page of explanation why I wasn't able to provide that. And I think they did consider that one because I was very honest with my reason. Because I was actually afraid that they will call my employer or my manager. Okay, so it's really better to be honest. And if you have a sponsor like me, then you also need to provide them like the proof of relationships. So for me, I provided our booked flights and hotels with our names together. Okay, and also our photos together. So since the day we met and the day that I applied for my visa, I provided all the photos that I have. And that's all on my side. And from my sponsor, I provided his invitation letter for me, as well as his passport and a copy of each page with stamped, because they needed to confirm if the stamp in his passport match the stamp in mine, because I mentioned in my letter that we traveled together. They also asked him to provide 6 months of his bank statement. However, we weren't able to give all those 6 months because he just went back to Ireland at that time. So we were only able to provide like 3 months of his bank statement. And we again explained in the cover letter why we can't provide the 6 months. and they did consider it. And also, he provided utility bills. So, utility bills with his name and address on the bill, because they need that one for your accommodation proof. And they also asked him to provide P60 or the tax certificate, as well as the certificate of employment. And we actually had trouble with the certificate of employment, because when I asked my boyfriend to give that one, he asked his company, and then they said like it's not a thing there, so they do not actually know that certificate of employment thing. However, my boyfriend explains that one to the embassy, and the embassy told him like he can just ask the company to write a letter that he works there, just to confirm. Actually, it's only for confirmation that he's saying the truth. Since I also mentioned in my letter that I will visit his friends, so they asked me to provide also invitation letters from his friends, as well as utility bill with their address. And since I had two sponsors when I went there, my boyfriend and his mom, I also asked his mom to provide invitation letter for me, as well as her bank certificate and her utility bill. I think I already mentioned all the documents that I submitted. So for the decision making, I waited for around 8 weeks with my first application, while with my second one I waited like around 10 weeks, since there was like 1 week holiday here, and it affected the decision for my application. And you should also take note, guys, that I noticed with my two applications that they both opened the envelope on the 6th week. So even though you submitted early, it's still the same, so it won't gonna change the time frame. Okay, on the 4th week of my application, I called the embassy, and they told me like my envelope's still waiting, and they're still processing another application. And on the 5th week, I called them again to ask if there's already a decision, since I was running out of time, and they still told me the same answer, like it's still waiting, they haven't opened it yet. And on the 6th week, I called them, and they said that they just opened it. So that's for my first and second application, so it's the same. They will start checking your documents just on the 6th week, and if you are lacking any documents, that's the only time that they will inform you. Well, that's what happened to me with my first and second application. So if there is anything that I haven't discussed here with the documents, just let me know, or if there's something that I forgot, just write your comments and I will try to get back to you. And I hope, guys, that this video will help you in your application. So good luck on your application, guys. I hope that I've helped you somehow in preparing your documents. Bye!